Welcome to the CoolCalifornia.org Household Carbon Footprint Calculator User Guide, where we're going to provide a brief demonstration on how to use our calculator to determine the carbon footprint for your household. This calculator identifies greenhouse gas emissions from all aspects of your lifestyle to accurately identify your carbon footprint as an individual living in a household. We look at basic information about where you live, how many people are in your household, and your income, as well as your transportation patterns, household consumption and spending, in order to estimate your footprint. Then we provide a summary of your carbon footprint and a list of actions you can take to save money and help the environment. To begin, we'll start on the introduction page by selecting the state in which you live. You can even go more in-depth by selecting your area. You can customize these inputs by using the drop-down arrow. The more specific you are, the more accurate your carbon footprint will be. You then select the number of people in your household and your gross annual household income. At the bottom of the page, you can see a summary of how your carbon footprint compares to that of the U.S. or worldwide average carbon footprint for similar households, based on the information you selected. Next, we're going to the transportation page, where you will enter information about your transportation habits. If you have a car, enter your miles per year that you drive and your miles per gallon for the type of car that you have. If you don't know the fuel efficiency of your car, our database will provide the correct values if you select your car's make and model. Use the drop-down buttons to select these. You can also add or delete vehicles as appropriate for your household. If you don't have a car, set miles per year to 0. In the public transit section, enter your public transportation habits. Type in your combined bus and rail miles per year, or you can enter them in separately. Next, enter the number of miles you fly per year, or you can enter the number of one-way flights. Now take a look at your footprint at the bottom of the page. It should have changed since you calculated your summary footprint on the introduction page. You also get a gauge of how you compare with people like you within the transportation sector specifically. Next, we're going to look at housing. On the housing page, you can report your electricity use by kilowatt hours or by dollars spent. Use the drop-down menu to select how you would like to report your electricity use. You should leave the default amounts if you don't have more accurate information, as they represent average use estimates given the information you provided on the introduction page. Some utility providers give the option to purchase green power, such as that generated from renewable sources like solar. These have lower emissions per dollar, so if you purchase green power, indicate what percentage using the drop-down menu. You also have the options for reporting your natural gas use. So use the drop-down menu to select the values and units you'd like to use to report natural gas use. Heating oils and other fuel use, such as propane, charcoal, and firewood, should be indicated by the estimated amount your households spend on these fuels. We use the square footage of your house to estimate home construction emissions. We also use square footage to estimate water use and their associated emissions. Estimate your home's square footage here. Average water use is 1 shower and 1 load of dishes plus toilet and sink used for 1 person. If you have a yard to water, you should use about double. If you have low flow fixtures, you should use about half. Click on the slider to reflect your household's water use. Now take a look at the summary table at the bottom of the page. It should have changed since you calculated your transportation footprint. The last page of inputs are on the shopping page. The calculator will automatically input values based on the information you entered on the introduction page. Adjust the sliders to best represent your household's diet and consumption. For example, you can customize your meat intake by selecting the View Individual Meat Proteins to better represent your meat consumption. Goods account for a large portion of your carbon footprint. You can adjust the estimate of your total month's spending on goods using the slider. Or you can select the View Individual Goods button and input the amount spent on each category of goods. We recommend using the slider. The same goes for services, however, again, we recommend you use the slider. Now, take a look at your footprint at the bottom of the page. It should have changed since you calculated your footprint on the housing page. Go back and play with the variables to see how adjusting your consumption patterns may increase or reduce your carbon footprint. The graph is going to automatically update. So let's take a look at the summary page. The summary page displays information about your total carbon footprint as well as your individual transportation, housing, and shopping footprints. Now that you're aware of your carbon footprint, you can change it. You can start doing this on the Take Action page. On this page is a list of actions or pledges you can make to reduce your carbon footprint. Here you can customize certain actions that are suitable for you. Each pledge is different, but our interactive interface lets you change variables with drop-down menus and fill-in boxes. For example, if I pledge to ride my bike more, I select that action and input the information according to the changes I'll make. Let's say I pledge to ride my bike 10 miles a week instead of driving my car. So that by taking this pledge, I'll save this many greenhouse gas emissions and this much money over a year's time and over 10 years. After completing your pledges, you'll be able to see at the top of the page a summary of your savings and what would be your new carbon footprint if you take these actions. After you've finished making your pledges, you'll need to save your results. If this is your first time using the tool, you need to register using the link at the top in order to save your results. You can also print the page. And there you go. You've now seen how simple it is to use the Cool California Carbon Footprint Calculator and begin taking simple steps to reduce your carbon footprint, help the environment, and best of all, save money.